Hey everybody, I'm Mikey Andersen, and this is Fantasy Avenue, where each week we talk about everything you need to know in the world of fantasy football. Hello, and welcome to another episode of Fantasy Avenue. I'm Mikey Andersen. This is your road to fantasy football victory, and we're back again. How's it going? You can't answer that question because you're not in this room with me, but I know it's a good day if you're listening to my podcast. Okay, so plan for today. We got, we've been getting a little off topic lately. A little bit of rants. Not as much fantasy football as I would like, and I think this season has been the most entertaining season so far in terms of the actual podcast and just, the quality of the podcast in terms of, being interesting to listen to. But at the same time, I don't know. It needs to be a little bit more fantasy football focused, I think, at times. And I'm ready for it. I'm prepared. I made a list today of everything I'm going to talk about. This is big. I'm going off and I'm getting ready. We're looking at ad money. We're kicking this podcast in a full gear as the fantasy football season is about to start. It's a week away. High school football season has started. We had our first game on Friday. It was sick. The football season's here, so we're gonna start kicking it today. We're talking about we're not gonna do as many lists. I'm not gonna make as many lists this year as I did last year in terms of my top players, because a lot of it is a little bit extra information that you don't really need. I'm making the basic list. I made a top 20 player list. This is a list for the very start of your draft. Now, if you don't know really how fantasy football works at all, I have an episode. I think it'll be next week. It keeps kind of getting pushed back. Everybody's schedules are a little tough, whatever. Anyway, there will be a Basics of Fantasy Football episode sometime, hopefully next episode, that will talk about just how the draft works. But anyway, you basically pick a team. If you don't know that, then now you know. You pick a team with the best players in the NFL, offensive players, and that creates your fantasy football team. And this week, we're talking about the best of the best, the top 20 in my opinion. Now, we're going off everything I say in terms of my rankings is 10-person leagues. So this is going to be this is going to be based on one round, 10 people. Everybody gets one pick. So there's 10 players in round one. Quick math right there. I do love math. Love some math. 10 plus 10 equals 20. And then we'll have another, right? So then we'll have the back 10. Top 20, there are definitely draft strategies. You don't really want to, necessarily pick two wide receivers, whatever. You definitely don't want to pick like two tight ends. Don't really want to pick a quarterback in the rounds, in the early rounds. And that's because the point difference is not as big. So there's a lot of strategies. I'm going to explain that real quick on the quarterback situation. A lot of people reach for somebody like Patrick Mahomes in the first round. Now, there are some quarterbacks, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, that are really, really good. And it's helpful to get a top one on your team. How the draft is going, everybody's picking quarterbacks early. You don't want to just get stuck without a quarterback. So it is important to have one. But at the same time, you shouldn't. And the reason is the difference in points between the number one quarterback, right? So in a point, over the course of the season, if you don't know, fantasy players score a certain amount of points, depending on their stats, yardage, touchdowns, whatever. The difference in points between the number one quarterback, let's say it's Patrick Mahomes, and the number 10 quarterback in points. I'll just have an example. The difference is like 100 points between the number 1 and the number 10. Go to running backs. The difference is like closer to 200 between the number 1 and number 10. Or you kind of need to go more, right? It needs to be like the difference between the number 1 quarterback and like the top 15 or 20 versus the number 1 receiver or the 20th receiver. The difference between the top of the totem pole and the middle for running backs and receivers is so much bigger of a difference than with quarterbacks that it's important to get top running backs and receivers when you can, because they're scoring so many more points than anybody. Tight ends is the most. Travis Kelce is the king. Travis Kelce is literally like just a 40-year-old dude compared to a bunch of like 8-year-old kids when it comes to all their tight ends. He's an absolute animal, and he scores so many more points than even the number 2 tight end, that his value, while he might not be the best player in fantasy, his value compared to everybody else at his position is so much higher. That's why these draft strategies exist, and that's why in my entire top 20 list, even though I'd say Patrick Mahomes is the best player in football, which freaking sucks because I'm a Broncos fan and he plays on the Chiefs and he beats us a lot. whatever. I would say he's the best player in football, but he's not even nearly close to my top players in fantasy football for that reason. So that's it. That's what we're going to be doing today. We're also going to be talking about a little bit of league winners later in the episode. This is going to be a deep fantasy episode, so, buckle in, strap in, pretend you're riding in my car right now. If you guys don't know, I'm an avid car driver. I have a 2006 Subaru Outback, absolute animal, stick shift, right, manual transmission, absolute dog. I drive it like a rally car. If you've ever driven with me, you know that, God, I love, in that winter with that little bit of ice on the back roads, holy cow, I do love drifting. My car's sick. So anyway, pretend you're going to just hop in the Mikey vehicle. Grab a non-alcoholic beverage, of course, from the bottom of my cooler that's in the back of my car that only has Gatorades, and prepare to ride. Let's go. Let's hop right into the top 10. Number 1, this is too easy. The gritty master himself, Justin Jefferson, Jay Jettis. He's so good. I think he's a little bit overrated, honestly, because people just think he's Jesus. He's not quite Jesus. He's Justin Jefferson, Jay Jettis, not Jay Jesus. But anyway, he's a top player in fantasy football. He's so good. He's only going up. There's no reason to think that he's not going to have a good year. And he dominates. He is a king. There is no other player in fantasy football that I am so sure will have a top 5 year than Justin Jefferson, and that's why he's going number 1 overall. Now, the two guys behind him, it starts to get a little uncertain. They could beat them, right? They could pass Justin Jefferson, but they also could suck. Their names are Christian McCaffrey and Austin Eckler. This is for injury reasons. Christian McCaffrey, golly, he gets hurt so much, and Austin Eckler. Now, in most lists, it will have Christian McCaffrey over Austin Eckler. And that's understandable sometimes. But in my personal list, I have Austin Eckler number 1. If you guys could see this, you obviously can't see it because it's a podcast. It's not a YouTube video, so you can't actually see what's in front of me. But I have a little heart next to Austin Eckler. Because he's just so good. Just makes me feel all warm and fuzzy inside when I think of Austin Eckler scoring me a touchdown last year. Man, he's so good. He won me a fantasy league. That's why I have him higher. Most leagues probably have Christian McCaffrey, but I've had Christian McCaffrey on 2 of my fantasy teams in my life. He got hurt both times, missed the entire year, absolute waste of a pick. I've had Austin Eckler twice in my whole life. Yeah, I wouldn't say he won one of the times he won my league, he was an absolute MVP. The other time he contributed. But both times I've had him on my team, I've won that league. So, I'm seeing a trend. Austin Eckler more like win me my fantasy league. Yes, sir. So that's why I have him number 2 and Christian McCaffrey number 3. It's all from a personal experience. Except last year, Christian McCaffrey balled. So, also, I need to take a drink of water, and I heard from a couple sources that it's weird when I drink water into the mic. So excuse me as I scoot back, and you can't hear me drink. I don't know if you guys can hear that, but I hope not, because I'm looking out for you guys. Okay. So that's my top 3, it's important. I really think if you're going into a draft this weekend, listen to this advice because this is important. You guys hear that? Ooh, whoops. Yeah, that was the paper hitting the mic. Not going to happen again. I'm a professional. I don't do that kind of stuff. Number 4. Hop right in. Number 4 is Cooper Kupp. Now, I have a little bit of run receivers. These are guys I don't really know if I'm drafting. These are just based on, the overwhelming league. Now, my own opinions fit in, and it doesn't really override my picks. I don't want my list to be too opinionated, but meh. Cooper Kupp at number 4, he's risky. I believe if he stays healthy, he has a very good chance of being the number 1 player in fantasy football if he plays all 17 games next year. Yeah, I said 17. Only true NFL fans know it was just 17 2 years ago. Get with it. Anyway, if he plays all 17 games, he will be the best player in fantasy, I believe, but I just don't think he's going to play all 17 games. Whether he plays 15 and still dominates, or whether he plays 4 and is a waste of a pick, that's where the risk comes in. But in terms of pure ceiling, it's called, it's right. It's the top. I mean, you guys are smart. You're listening to my podcast. You can figure out what ceiling means. It means as good as the player can be, right? It's their top potential. His ceiling is the best player in fantasy football, and that's why I have him listed higher. That's why I have him listed over Jamar Chase and Tyreek Hill, the next 2 guys on my list, number 5 and number 6, who are both good receivers, and they're going to have good years. But I don't believe either of them can pass Justin Jefferson. I believe Cooper Kupp is the only other receiver who can beat Justin Jefferson this year, and that's why he's ranked higher. Even though Jamar Chase and Tyreek Hill will still have good years. Those are safe picks for a top 5 wide receiver year. They're just not going to be number 1. The next guy on my list is none other than Travis Kelce. Love Travis Kelce. My dad, shout out my dad, who's also named Travis. I don't see a resemblance much in terms of the physical attributes. My dad is nowhere near as muscular as Travis Kelce, and he doesn't have as good of a beard. I'm sorry, Dad, but the fact that his name is Travis and he's cool, and my dad is named Travis, and my dad is also cool, I see a resemblance there. So for Travis Kelce, even though I don't have him listed higher than Jamar Chase or Tyreek Hill, the value there, I would think twice. I would think twice, and I would maybe pick Travis Kelce in the top 5. Now, if anybody listening to this episode is in my leagues this year and we haven't drafted yet, don't pick Travis Kelce. Waste of a pick. He's washed. Don't pick him. But if you're not in my leagues, definitely pick this guy. This guy's a baller. And in my leagues, I'm going to pick him because I just convinced all the people that are in my leagues that he sucks. So, he's pretty good. I don't know if he's necessarily going to be higher than Jamar Chase on most lists, but he might be on mine. Number 8, number 9, number 10. Now, usually I only do a top 10. If you are an OG fan, you'll know that I did only a top 10 last year. And that's because you know that in round 1, you will guaranteed get one of these guys, maybe 2 of these guys. But I'm looking at the fantasy players and I'm like, holy cow, there's so many guys that I feel like I'm leaving out that are borderline top 10. All these guys, right, in the bottom half could replace these guys in the top in 7, 8, 9, 10 category. So with number 8, Devontae Adams. Number 9, CeeDee Lamb. Now these guys are interchangeable. A lot of people are pretty high on CeeDee Lamb. They have him in kind of a Jamar Chase area, young, coming into a good quarterback spot with a lot of targets, a lot of chances to touch the rock, to touch the ball. To touch the ball. That's a little awkward. Anyway, that was my soundboard's not working. If my soundboard was working, I would play the cricket noise, but it's not working. So, you guys can't hear that. It's so disappointing. Anyway, pretend there's a little cricket sound when I just said that. Let's move on. Let's just get it right out of the way. CeeDee Lamb is in the younger category with Jamar Chase, a guy that's up and coming, looking to get the ball a lot. And Devontae Adams is a proven guy. Now, I'm picking Devontae Adams, at least for this year, because he balls out with anybody, and he scores a lot of touchdowns. And I have him higher than CeeDee Lamb. But CeeDee Lamb could boom. CeeDee Lamb could finish as the number 3 receiver pretty easily, I believe. And I actually picked him in one of my leagues that I've already drafted. So it's not like I don't like him. I just don't think he's going to be as good as Devontae. But those guys are pretty interchangeable. And a lot of it is just like, you guys are probably not going to remember this off the top of your head come draft night. But it'll just be like, oh, I recognize that name, CeeDee Lamb. Supposedly be pretty good according to the expert Fantasy Avenue analyst. So go ahead and pick him. And to round up my top 10, Nick Chubb, running back. Unfortunate last name because he's not chubby. He's a beast. He's good. He just carries the ball so much. He's kind of interchangeable with the next two guys on my list. I have Josh Jacobs at 11 and Saquon Barkley at 12. Now the bottom 2 guys do have a little bit of risk. Josh Jacobs just had one booming season. It's hard to know if he's going to repeat that or not. I think he will, but it's hard to know. And Saquon has had injuries. When he's not hurt, he's similar to Cooper Kupp in his ability to ball when he's not hurt. But when he is hurt, he doesn't really ball, obviously, because he's not on the field. So Nick Chubb is the safest out of those 3, and that's why I have Nick Chubb rounding out the top 10, even though I do think Josh Jacobs and Saquon could finish above Nick Chubb. Those are kind of the safe options. Now it starts getting into these booming, busting kind of guys. With number 13, Tony Pollard. Love this kid. I don't know why I call him a kid because he's like, I don't know, probably 8 years older than me. But whatever. He's a kid, and he's a beast. His name's Tony. He's a beast. He's just gonna come into his own this year. I've had him on my fantasy team last season in multiple leagues, behind Ezekiel Elliott, who's just flabby patty over there. Get out of my face. He's like a burger that's been sitting in the fridge for 3 weeks. Ezekiel Elliott, you're done. You're done. Nobody wants to eat you. Would I rather eat a home cooked, overdone burger that's been sitting in my 50-degree fridge for 2 weeks? Or would I rather go get 5 Guys with a gift card so that it's not expensive and I chow that Five Guys burger down. That's what Tony Pollard is. He's a free Five Guys burger. You know how expensive Five Guys is. Tony Pollard is a free, cheese dripping. He's going to be a beast. He's going to touch the rock a lot. He's going to get a lot of carries. It's going to be his first year. I don't know how long he can really maintain that because he's not that big. So I don't know how long he can maintain getting a ton of carries and stuff, because in the NFL you take a beating as a running back. But this year, holy cow, he's going to be good. And he's going to be underrated. And that's why, I don't know if he's going to do as good as Saquon or Josh Jacobs, but he could. He can do so well. And I have him rated this high because he's not going to be ranked that high on like the apps that you use. Typically when you draft, if you don't know, you use a fantasy app, and it has the players listed in the opinion of analysts, blah, blah, blah. The app has them ranked. Tony Pollard will not be very high. He will not be as high as some of the guys that I'm going to say later. Huge value because I think he should be. So you can get a steal. You can be partying with a bunch of noobs. Nobody knows what to do, and all of a sudden you grab Tony Pollard, and they're like, "Who's that guy?" Yeah, come championship week, you'll know who that guy is. He's that guy. Tony Pollard, beast. Next up on the list, Derrick Henry. He's on the complete opposite spectrum of Tony Pollard, but he's still good. He's definitely on the decline. I don't think Derrick Henry's going to be hitting 2,000 yards on the ground anytime soon. Right? Nobody does that. Nobody does that twice. But he's still a good running back. Is he going to be, is he a safe option? Yes. Even when he gets hurt, he doesn't get that hurt because he's literally a freight train. It's impossible to hurt him that much. Is he going to boom? No. Is he going to finish in the top 10 running backs? Yes. Is he going to finish in the top 5? I don't know, maybe. His floor, which is how bad, his lowest potential, and his ceiling, his highest potential, they're very close together. Like, he's just going to have a good season, I believe, no matter what. Not going to be great, not going to be bad, barring a terrible injury. He's just going to have a good season. And sometimes that's all you need. Let's say it's round 2. You already picked a guy like CeeDee Lamb, who's got some real potential. Could also not have an insane year. It may not live up to the potential, but could crack his way into the top 5 receivers. Go grab yourself Derrick Henry. Go grab yourself a consistent guy that you can count on for 15-ish points every week, and then hope that CeeDee Lamb balls out every week, and there you go. That's a winning strategy right there. So that's why I have Derrick Henry at 14. That's why I don't have him in front of these running backs that are kind of hyped, but I still have him high enough. Number 16, A.J. Brown, followed by Stephon Diggs. I love A.J. Brown, don't love Stephon Diggs. Now, Stephon Diggs is still super good, but the weird stuff that's been happening in the Bills with the locker room problems, with trading things, there's just like some, I don't know if that's going to affect your season. It's really hard to go out and play well when outside things are affecting you. I've experienced that in high school football. I've seen it in college football. When stuff is going on in your team that makes you feel like you're not, the first choice, or that maybe the coaches don't believe that you are that guy, it can add some fire, right? And you can go ahead and ball out and show who you are, or it can affect you negatively. And it's hard to know what's going to happen. It's hard to know if he's going to improve himself, which I hope he does, because that feeling is so good when you go out and just prove why you're there. But I've seen it a lot, especially in college football, when guys get benched, they don't come back and play well. They don't light that fire under them, and it's hard to know. I hope that he can experience that boom when that fire is lit, because he's going to be good. If you guys haven't experienced that, holy cow. That's why Stephon Diggs is ranked this high, because there's a chance he can be, but there's also a chance he can't. The guy above him, A.J. Brown, already has that fire. He's had that fire since he got traded to Philadelphia. He showed it last year. He's a physical beast. He's like a tree, like a muscly tree. A little bit of an odd analogy, but that's all I can even think of right now. Just a staggering oak tree. Rah. And he's on a good team with a good quarterback, Jalen Hurts. Yeah, he's going to be good. That's why I have him above Stephon Diggs. Now to round out the top 20. We have Justin Taylor, followed by Bijan Robinson, followed by Amon-Ra St. Brown. Amon-Ra, that's a sick name. My name is Michael. What the frick, Mom and Dad? Why didn't you name me Amon-Ra? That would have been so cool. Amon-Ra Andersen. Rah. Kid from Bozeman, Montana. Blue eyes, brown hair, beast named Amon-Ra. That would be cool. Unfortunately, that's not me, but that is this guy, and he was sick last year. there's some uncertainty, but in terms of the level 2, level 3 receivers, he's not on the league of Tyreek Hill. He's not quite in the league of AJ Brown, Devontae Adams type of thing. He's the next level. He's after you get out of the superstars. He's the top guy. And if you can find him in round 3, oh my God, that's a steal. I wouldn't reach for him. I would get yourself a consistent running back before getting him if you don't have a running back. I would say it's really important to get at least one running back in the first 2 rounds. Maybe you don't, but don't draft 2 receivers. Don't really be drafting Amon-Ra. But if you can get, I'm seeing a draft that'd be if you're picking early, you're able to get Cooper Kupp, pick 3, right? Then it comes back around. You find a consistent guy like Derrick Henry, like Saquon maybe, in the late round, and that flips to round 3 and you get an Amon-Ra St. Brown. That team is a unit with 3 strong players. So that's kind of the strategy for him. The 2 guys above him, Jonathan Taylor and Bijan Robinson. Now, unfortunately, Brady, don't know if you listen to this podcast, my guy, long-time Chiefs fan, which is an odd decision in my opinion. But you guys win, so good for you, Brady. Anyway, I was in Brady's league. I unfortunately missed the draft time by about 10 minutes. I was driving to the airport to pick up, I don't even know, my dad's car, I think, something with my mom. I was just, by the time I got to the airport, I'm like, oh, shoot, I'm supposed to be drafting right now. So I had to drive my dad's car, or my mom. I was driving my mom's car home, just parked in the Bar 3 barbecue parking lot, and I just did a quick fantasy football draft. But the problem is I missed the first 4 rounds. Now I ended up getting, I can't even remember. I think I got CD Lamb and then Jonathan Taylor in round 1 maybe. And then, I got, who did I get? I got CD Lamb and then Josh Jacobs, and then I got Jonathan Taylor round 3, I think maybe. I have those 3 players. I don't know in what order, but those are 3 good players. I'm happy about that draft. Jonathan Taylor might not have been somebody I draft because there's a lot of risk with him coming into the season. He's coming off 2 years ago, a huge year. Then he was injured last year, still had an okay year. Now he's having contract trouble. Might not even play for his team. So we don't even know if he's going to go to a team that already has a legit running back and they're going to split carries and stuff, which would suck. That's terrible in fantasy football. If a running back takes a snap, gets the ball, next play the other running back gets the ball. That's what splitting carries means. That's terrible in fantasy football because your running back gets half of the chances he could get at other places, right? But if he plays for the Colts, I'll be really happy. He's just kind of a risky pick. That's why he's this low down, because he has the potential of Nick Chubb. He has close to the potential of Austin Eckler and CMC, but he's at spot 19 for me 18 because of what's been happening. I don't know. I'm honestly kind of annoyed when I saw that I got him in fantasy. Not that he's terrible, but I'm just shoot. That could have gone a little better. I probably wouldn't have picked him, but it's all right. I'm still happy. He's just a little bit of risk. But if all the guys in front, I wouldn't reach for him at all. But if every single one of the guys I've already said is off the board, he's still a tier 2 running back with a low floor but a high ceiling, and I like him. The guy right behind him, this rounds out our top 20, even though he's at 19 because I skipped Amon-Ra. So at 19, with Amon-Ra at 20, 19, Bijan Robinson, the only rookie on this list, guy who's, in my opinion, really, I think he's overhyped. Now in Dynasty Leagues, I know, if Joe, if you're listening to this, I'm not hating on your pick. I know you picked him first overall. I would not have done that. I'd probably pick Justin Jefferson, but he's not bad. And I think if you add up his points total in 5 years, right, take 5 years worth of points, he could have the most in the entire National Football League. But for this year, if you're not in a Dynasty League, if you're in a regular football league, fantasy league where you're just picking for this season, blah, 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 it's scary. It's scary that these so-called experts, who, in my opinion, I'm the real expert, that these so-called experts have him above proven guys. I mean, they have him above guys like Saquon and Josh Jacobs. For all we know, Bijan could get injured just like Saquon does. For all Josh Jacobs popped off last year. There's no guarantee that Bijan is going to pop off at all. It's just odd that they have a guy who's never taken an NFL snap higher than these, some of the greatest athletes in the world that have proven that they can do it. I just think it's a little weird. I still have him high up because I think the potential could be super good. but I know the fantasy apps have him like ranked really high, and I know all the experts are saying they're ranked really high. So in my opinion, if you're drafting and you see him available and it's early, don't pick him. I don't think it's worth it. I think you should get one of the guys I've mentioned above. Now, if all the guys are gone and he's somehow available, I don't think it's going to happen. Then I think you draft him. But I'm just asking everybody who listens to the Fantasy Avenue podcast and who hasn't drafted yet, if you're in a regular league, don't make him the centerpiece of your team. If you can help it, make somebody else. Make somebody who's like pretty guaranteed to be good, who's proven that they will be good. Because that's scary. That can frick up. I mean, that can screw your entire season based on one player. It's alright though. You know what? Whatever. You do you. It's just I'm not going to be picking it. And that's the top 20. Wow, look at that. I mean, that's just fantasy analysis at its finest. Incredible. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for giving me that time to use my platform. We have a little bit more in this episode, and then we're going to call it with a nice 30-minute-ish episode. I want to say right now, if you want to come on the podcast, I've had some of the boys and some of the, anybody who's reached out, it's one of the boys, even if you're not technically one of the boys. But I've heard some guys reach out, some people wanted to come on the podcast. Yeah. Keep telling me. You know what? If you're serious about it, if it's not just like, oh yeah, I should come on. If you're serious, dude, yeah, tell it. Like, say it. You can call in. I can hook up my phone to this soundbox real quick. The Rodecaster Pro 2. You can literally just say whatever you want about football on a phone call. It's that easy. I'm thinking about next week. I might just call people. And say, hey, you're on the podcast. Talk. That would be funny. That actually might be funny. I might do that. I might just hook up my phone and call people and be like, you're on the podcast without warning and just see if they say anything. And if it's bad, I can just cut it out. But I'm probably not going to cut it out. You know that I don't. Everybody knows that I refrain from editing as much as possible. So if I can get a little funny, like, wait, really? That's gold. That's comedy gold. So, if you've told me you want to be on the podcast, keep telling me, and also be prepared, because I'm gonna have my Snapchat open, and I'm gonna be looking, and I'm gonna be having that call button ready for you guys. Bet. All right. Last segment of the episode is the league winners. These are guys at each position that are kind of underrated, and I believe can win your league. I believe that you can get every one of these guys while getting guys like Austin Eckler, like Travis Kelce, and then you can still get a team of these guys, and that's a beast team, where if every one of these guys pops, you're winning your league guaranteed, and I think there's a chance all these guys pop. I have one from each position, besides running back. I have two running backs. One quarterback that I think can win your league, Justin Fields, Bears quarterback. Now, as much as I hate on the Bears, sorry, Matilda, I don't like the Bears. Sorry, any other Bears fans. I don't really know many. I only know like two Bears fans, but yeah, Bears suck. Anyway, Justin Fields doesn't suck. Justin Fields is a beast. I already drafted him in one of my leagues. He's cool. And I think if he has the season that he did last year, if he can start to throw the ball a little bit while having, 40-point games on the ground, add in 15 or 20 points of passing, I think he can have record-setting fantasy games like multiple times. Those are the league winners. If your quarterback is able to score 50 points, 5 times, like that's huge. Because you're most likely win those 5 games no matter what. Then if you win half of your other games just off of like being better, it's like a what? Let's see here. Let me do some quick math. Usually about 15 games in the season, wins 5. That's a 10-win season. That's a playoff easy win season. That's a 10-5 season going in the playoffs with confidence. He does that in the playoffs a couple times, and there you are. You're a league champion. Justin Fields can do that. If he works on his passing, if he's able to consistently put fantasy points through the air and continue to put them on the ground like he did last season a couple times, he is a league winner. Love him. Running backs. I have Tony Pollard, who I already talked about, so I don't really need to talk about him much, but he's just so underrated, and I love him. The second running back, Miles Sanders, Panthers running back. Now, I also hate on the Panthers a lot just because I don't understand what their team does. If Holden or Morgan, if either of you are listening to the podcast, figure it out, guys. Call up the owner. What does your team do? Like, they should be good, but they're always just mid. I don't know. They should be good. They should be good this year. Pick Bryce Young, Will the rookie quarterback ball out, or will he suck absolute balls? I don't know. We'll see. I hope he doesn't suck. for you guys, I mean, you haven't been good since Super Bowl 50 when my Broncos knocked your ass out of contention and took that trophy home. But anyway, yeah, I needed to shout out my Broncos win. The last time in 7 years that they've won anything important. I need to say it at least once an episode. Anyway, figure out the Panthers. I mean, like, they should be living good. They live on the beach. What the heck? I feel like that's all you need. I live on the beach and I play in the NFL. That should just make you good, because you're just living luxury, and they're not good. But anyway, Miles Sanders, running back, can really help. He's coming from Philadelphia, the city of poverty and nonviolent robbery. I'm not actually sure if that's true, but the city of Rocky. Let's say that, because I know that's true. Miles Sanders comes from the city of Rocky. He's a fighter for sure, and he's finally getting a chance to step in as a lead back on a team with a rookie quarterback who might need a lead back. You know, I mean, everybody gets tired once in a while. Rookie quarterbacks get tired a lot. They need help. Everybody needs a check down. Everybody needs a little insurance. You know, a wingman. He is Bryce Young's wingman when it comes to just take the ball. I'm too scared. Yeah, go for it, dude. Clear the path, Miles Sanders. I think he will. I think he's a leader. I think he's a team leader. I think he's a backfield leader. I think he's a fantasy leader. I think if you get him as like the third running back on your team, that value there it's possible to do that, because I've done it. That's why I'm saying it, because I've done it. And that value is nice. So I'm going to be liking that a lot this year, and I think you are too. Gotcha. Number 3, the receivers. We're going to Calvin Ridley. This guy, I mean, you guys, if you don't know his name, it's because he didn't play it down in the NFL last season, and you might be like, oh my God. I just voice cracked, and I tried to save it, and I voice cracked again. That's embarrassing. I'm not editing it, though, because I'm real. Everybody voice cracks. It's okay. Calvin Ridley. If you don't know his name, it's because he spent the entirety of last season sitting on his couch eating potato chips. Don't be like that. Don't be the washed-up uncle. Don't be the guy who's just like, oh, man, back in my day before this gruesome hip injury, I was good. Nope. I don't want to see that. I've seen it in my own life, not with an uncle, but with some fellow teenagers. Calvin Ridley, I hope you weren't doing that. I really hope you stay in shape, because if you were, you're going to be good. Now, everybody gambles. I'm gambling right now as to whether I can finish this podcast in under 35 minutes. I'm going to take the over on that. But anyway, everybody gambles. That's okay. It's okay, Calvin. I'm not judging you. I think it's dumb that NFL players can't gamble on games if they're out in the game, you know? If you are announced as not playing in the game, or if it's not even your game, like, bruh, Calvin Ridley was out with a knee injury, I believe it was. There's some kind of injury. Not a washed-up uncle injury, just an injury. But he bet on his own team to win, and he got fined, or he got suspended an entire year. Like, can you not bet on your own team to win if you are not playing? I mean, I see how it could start to be like, I'm going to bet on my team to lose, bet all my money, and then purposely make us lose. Yeah, but if you are, like, confirmed out of the game, I don't know. I mean, it's a little, I see how it could go both ways. But I don't think I'm not judging his character for it, okay? I think he's a good guy. And I think he's going to be really good this year, and I think a lot of people are not going to even know really what he is, because he didn't have a big year last year because he didn't play. I think he's going to be low down on all the apps, and yet I think he could have a top 10 receiving season. I actually do. I don't know. Actually, I would probably need to look at my receiver rankings to say that, actually. But I don't know. I'm going to say it with my chest. I think he can be a top 10 receiver. So, take your shot. Take your shot with Calvin Ridley. And finally, another Jags player. The only thing the Jags get is that pool in their stadium, and shout-outs on my fantasy team. They don't have a lot. They only have 2 things. The second thing is this shout-out, Evan Ingram, their tight end. Now, this is a late-round pick. My strategy for tight end is either go for broke with Travis Kelce or wait late and pick up my guy, Evan Ingram, who had a big year last year, who will be close to all the other tight ends in points that are ahead of him. Right? He'll hang in there. He'll give you good value for where you're picking him. And I think he's going to have another big year as a focal point of an offense, pairing with Calvin Ridley for the Sunshine quarterback. If you don't know that reference, that Sunshine reference from that one movie where the 2 teams like hate each other. Or the one team hates each other because they're like half black guys and half white guys, and why can I not think of the name of the movie? And they all form, they bond over the football, and they win the championship. Anyway, their quarterback was named Sunshine. True story. He had this flowing hair, much like Trevor Lawrence of the Jaguars. Trevor Lawrence is just like him, and I love it. And I think throwing the ball to Evan Ingram will work this year. Their team is united, not because of race or because of not having money like they did in the movie or because of a new coach like they did in the movie. The movie had a lot of things that could have split a team up. The Jaguars have been not united because they suck. And now they're finally good. The only thing that needs to unite the Jaguars is them being good. And I believe Calvin Ridley and Evan Ingram paired with their quarterback Trevor Lawrence can make them good. So that's why I have those two guys. And that's my league winners. I believe if you pick all those guys and you find a couple beasts, a couple diamonds in the early rounds, and then you're able to steal those guys, that is a fantasy league winning team. There's a lot of risk, but there's a lot of reward. And that's what you got to go for. And that's all I got. That's a good episode. Man, I'm trying to do this. I'm trying this episode. You guys know I'm trying to get the episode done with the newcomers, learning about fantasy, blah, blah, blah. Anybody else, football guys, the guys we're trying to make a league with. We got to make this league. I got a lot of things on my plate. School is starting, but that doesn't have to do with the podcast. A lot of podcast stuff that I got to get done. And this episode's step one. So thanks for hanging in with the episode. Got a busy schedule. Don't know if I'm hoping the next episode will come out next weekend. I don't really want to just take big breaks between. I want to get ads. I got a lot of things I want to do. And then I got school and football season starting. So a lot of stuff. But I appreciate you hanging around. Listen to the end of the episode. Big shout out. And I'll see you next time. Peace out.
Are you a diehard Packers fan? Then you need the Packernet podcast in your life. Tune in daily for the latest Packers news, analysis, and insights from every angle. We've got multiple shows covering everything from game breakdowns to roster updates. Don't forget our fan favorite call-in show, Packernet After Dark. That's right, you call in and talk about whatever you want, because here, it's all about you and your passion for the Packers. So what are you waiting for? Subscribe to the Packernet podcast today and never miss a beat.